What's up, YouTube? It's Zach here, and today I wanted to talk about the origins of Islamic prayer. And now, something most Muslims don't know is that actually the Islamic prayers are not in the Quran, right? The way we know how to pray, there's only three prayers mentioned in the Quran, and it doesn't explicitly say the procedure and how to do so. There's a lot of people out there, historians, will always say, "Oh, Islam just took it from Zoroastrianism." If you're a real Muslim / spiritual person, you know that there's only one message, there's only one revelation, and that Islam is, we just believe Islam is the completion. Doesn't mean that everything else before it is bullshit. So with that being said, it's like, where did Islamic prayers come from? Did they come from, Zoroastrianism? Well, it could be, because we as Muslims believe that all these names that were given to certain religions, they don't mean anything. There's only one true truth, and that's Allah. And so, I mean, whether it's called Islam or this or that, the naming doesn't make sense. It's more about the procedure. So, if Zoroastrianism had, what the Islamic prayers we use today, this doesn't mean that Islam is a copy off of that. It just means, the main thing since the time of Abraham is that the main thing, and even today, the main part of our prayer is the prostration. That's when we put our heads down. And actually, what the real people know, the real ones know, is that you're supposed to make dua when your head is down, and that's what Prophet Muhammad ﷺ used to do. And people used to think he was asleep, or he like passed out, because he used to make dua so long there. So, it's the ultimate form of humbling yourself, of giving up, of submission. Anxiety, tension, what is that? That's when sometimes we think we need to control the world, and the world is in our control. But when you put your head down and you're asking and you're begging for God, at that moment you're saying you're in control and I trust you, right? Because Allah is the trustee. That's one of his names. He takes care of the affairs of his creation. So you always have to trust him. But so basically, what does this mean? This means that, this is something my whole channel's been about. Stop. A lot of Muslims, you guys are stuck in the Stone Age because white people fucked you guys up too long, and you guys forgot how to think. Remember that just because something's in the Quran, it doesn't mean that it's kafir or it's sihir or it's sister. That be open-minded, open up your mind to text, read the other text. Understand that not all hadiths are right, but also at the same time, our 5 daily prayers are all from hadiths. Do know that Christians pray 5 times a day. Do know that Jews pray 5 times a day. It's not something exclusive to Muslims. But also the big thing is, here's something most people also don't know, is that prayer today is like repetition. I go to the masjid, I see guys going through the motions. They're there to talk, they're there to be seen. It's a social gathering, and then they like leave right away. And it's like I'm the last one to leave, and it's because I'm the only one who's making dua in my sujood, in my prostration. That's like, that should be 70% of your prayer. And actually the most part is the prostration. Even if I'm down and I'm not making dua, I just know putting my head down, that's me saying I'm not anything without the Lord, and we're nothing without our Lord. He is the creator of the universe, so we're nothing without him. One thing to keep in mind, just like when we go to Jumu'ah prayer, we only pray 2 rakat. That's because 2 of them is lectures. At the time of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, people, this is a big thing, people didn't do the repetitions. They didn't just go through the motions, and then, going through the motions is great. It helps cleanse our energy. It helps ground us. It helps remove any evil eye, negative energy. It protects us from harm, But also a big aspect of prayer is there's other aspects to it. That could be picking up the Quran in just reading 3 pages, right? If you only speak Spanish, read a Spanish version. If you only speak Russian, read a Russian version. If you only speak English, read an English version. It's about absorbing the light, right? Allah is the Nur. That's one of his names. We need to absorb the light. Okay, and how do we absorb the light? We absorb it through his works, through his book. So read, listen to a lecture. That's also part of praying. Also part of praying is work on your fucking self, right? Just because you pray 5 times a day and you give the zakat and you follow the things technique-wise, right? You go through the motions perfectly, but then you talk to 6 different guys at once and you just see which one has the most money. Okay, now all your prayer doesn't count. Prayer, right? Since there's no explicit way to pray in the Quran, that means that prayer can really just jihad, worship of Allah. It happens in a lot of ways. It happens when you sacrifice yourself for someone, when you donate, when you don't allow reputation in your culture to impinge upon what Islam and religion and truth and justice mean. right? You know, when you don't sell yourself for money, that's a form of prayer. When you teach people, if I'm making YouTube, these YouTube videos are probably a form of prayer. Doesn't mean I don't pray 5 times a day, and it doesn't mean I pray 5 times a day every day, right? I'm definitely off sometimes, but it just means that I do at least, you know, my thing is what I try to do is I try to read the 99 names of Allah almost, you know, when I pray. Um, I try to read a couple pages of the Quran every time before I pray. I try to at least throw on a YouTube video. There's a lot of good YouTube videos. I'm a YouTube video. I mean, there's 1,000,001 YouTube videos. And then I do the repetition and the prayer. And I make sure to focus on my dua, my prostration, and constantly thanking God for what I have, right? Because when you thank God for what you have, we're all like that. I always want more. But when we thank God for what we have, we tend to just feel more at ease, right? The happiest people are not the ones who have everything. The happiest people are the ones who are happy with what they have. So, right, that could be something we change, you know, with our prayer is, you know, maybe that's my advice to you is that, like, yeah, do the repetitions, do the prayers, but also seek the knowledge. But then, you know, even if you're learning about psychology, even if you're learning about yourself, even if you're learning about astrology, you know, as crazy as it sounds, you know, as long as you're not trying to see the fucking future or whatever, if you use astrology to see your personality and improve yourself, which is what my whole video about astrology was about, right? It's about learning about yourself so you can become better and treat others better, treat yourself better, and be happier and make the world a better place. You know, it's the same concept. Like, part of prayer could be doing that internal work, right? Improving yourself. Read a couple pages of the Quran, read, you know, whatever, read some hadith. And it doesn't have to even be Quran. It doesn't have to be, it could be Christian books. It could be, I read the Torah, I read the Bible, I hear their sayings. And the only thing there's no difference between, you know, hadiths and sayings in Christianity, in the Torah, in Judaism, in sayings and hadiths in Islam. It's all exactly the same because the truth is the truth. You know, Allah is al-Haq, He's the truth. So the truth is always the truth. So in other words, just do know that Islamic prayers are actually older than Islam itself, right? This is a very, to me, it seems shamanic. It seems like the ancient, you know, we're talking the Zoroastrians did it. People before Judaism did it. You know, it seems like people are connecting with the earth. There's also stretching involved, right? I'm a personal trainer, so there's some aspects of yoga. Personally, what I like to do is I like to light Bakhur. You know, Bakhur was a big thing. I like to light up some candles before I pray. It puts me in the right mindset. You know, even being by myself. So yeah, you know, I mean, my point is prayer, don't just make it repetitions, right? Remember to focus on the prostration, remember to ask for diet, and remember that, you know, everything, this should be an example that everything is interconnected, because this is our 5 daily prayers that Muslims live and die by, right? That's not even in the Quran. Okay, so if I preach something that is from the Bible, or if I preach something and it's, you know, a story, you know, what we're told in Islam is if it's not from the Quran, don't think it's complete garbage, but also we do realize there's going to be a lot of bullshit. And that's true, right? When we hear Greek mythology, we hear these people, they keep calling all these people gods, right? Gods. No, they were probably walis and prophets, right? That's not weird to think. You know, I mean, you saw what Moses did. He lifted up an ocean and he turned his staff into a snake. That sounds like some BS. It sounds like some Greek mythology, right? The only difference is that we know it's not, because we're brought up to believe it's true, right? So my point is that my channel, I'm open to everything. I learn all religions, learn all ways of life, learn all the prophets, the ones who aren't mentioned in the Quran, you know, like Buddha, Zoroaster, the prophet for Zoroastrianism, he was probably a good guy, right? So open your mind, expand your mind, realize that not everything is going to be in the Quran. If you truly want to reach God, you have to travel the world, you have to open up your mind, you have to remove yourself. You can't say, oh, this person's gay, he can't teach me anything. Oh, this person's a Jew, he can't teach me anything. Oh, this person's black, he can't teach me anything. Oh, here's some kid who's talking about mystical shit on YouTube, you know, what does he know, right? The point is just listen to everybody, cleanse your heart, put your head down to God and ask for what you want. And, you know, prayers for you. It's not for God. God doesn't need your prayers. Love you all. Please subscribe and check out my other videos.